time for Open Line Friday. Your chance to join the conversation and talk about what you want to talk about. Call the Jackson Electric Open Line at 672-KROE. That's 672-5763. Now, your hosts on the Jackson Electric Open Lines, Steve Sisson and Floyd Whiting.
Electric Open Line, I'm Steve Sisson with Aaron Linden and Trevor Jackson in the box. Floyd is stuck in Buffalo. Very convenient.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The roads are open now, Floyd. Come on.
Yeah, you could hurry. I'm sure they're great to hurry on.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I would say they are open, but only travel them right now if you really need to. Might want to give a little time to...
I always love that, though. No unnecessary.
Right.
Who determines that besides you?
I
You
think
just
that
go,
it's
it's necessary that I... Yeah.
It's up to you entirely of what's necessary and what's not.
Freedom of dumb choices.
Right. Our poll question, sponsored by First Northern Bank of Wyoming this week, was, would you run for local government? And I can't say I was very surprised at the results.
No.
We had the yes, no undecided, and the no's were 70%, which that may be one of the highest margins we've had in a long time.
Right.
On the poll. 23% yes and 7% undecided. We should mention that Madison is out for a meeting, but in her place on the live stream, we have Aaron Linden's water bottle, which I see at the very bottom of it there. It says council member.
It should say former council member.
Right.
The new folks took over the beginning of January. So, I answered this poll question. There was yes, no, undecided. Mm-hmm. I would have answered hell no. No, I'm just kidding.
We didn't provide that option.
No, we didn't. No, it's interesting. So as somebody that did run for local government, got elected to local government, it is, and I ran into, I won't say who, but a new council person that just came on in January, and he looked at me and he goes, oh my gosh, you were right. I had no idea. I'm like, right. It's a lot. And that's, I think, the 70% that said no, I kind of get why. I mean, one, you're putting yourself out there, and then especially in this day and age, get canceled or people, oh, well, did you hear what he said?
Right.
And it's challenging for a lot of folks. And to realize that and be like, I don't really want that for myself, I totally get that. Mm-hmm. But it's also, it's crazy. People see, oh, well, you got a council meeting every Monday and they're hour for a study session, 2, 3, 4 hours for an actual meeting, dependent upon what's going on, if it's budget, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But along with that, there's meetings outside the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
There's also boards, SAWs, rec district, housing land trust. I sat on, 5 or 6 other boards along with my council position because there has to be a council-appointed liaison on these things.
Oh, yeah.
And you could literally fill up an entire week of meetings if you wanted to.
And I suppose there's homework in addition to all that, right?
Oh, tons. Yeah. The actual packet comes out on Thursday by about noon. And if you're doing your due diligence, which I love that term.
It's an overused term,
I
isn't
did
it?
my due diligence. Yeah. Did you? But really, if you sit down and do the job, that packet can take hours upon hours. And then dependent upon what's in there, you may go, well, I need to contact, Public Works to find out more on this.
Right, because it's not just reading stuff, it's studying.
It's studying.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times going out independently and seeing what other communities are doing. So there's a ton to it. Yeah. And for somebody that has that time, maybe retired, maybe whatever, yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you can, it's a full-time job, but it doesn't pay
right.
like a full-time job. We got it increased from the last council that was in was $500 a month. And now we got it increased to $1,000. But really, it works out to cents on the hour of time invested. But you do it, you hopefully do it because you want to represent the constituents. You want to represent the people that voted you in. You don't do it for other reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think maybe that's one of the arguments against having it pay a whole lot, because that changes the motivation for doing that job.
Right.
And you hope that people get in there for good reasons and not just to make money.
Hopefully, but then the adverse to that is they go, well, it's all the rich people. Well,
yeah, and that's the other side of it. Yeah.
And
it's older people.
Older
because when
rich
you're
people.
in your 20s and 30s, you don't have time to do that kind of stuff.
You don't have time to do that kind of stuff. And honestly, it's nice to have some younger folks on there, but you also kind of don't have necessarily that adulting experience.
Right. The experience that comes with time.
Exactly.
Wisdom, yeah.
Instead of knee-jerk reactions, really sitting back and going, well, let's assess this situation.
Yeah. So I think, a lot of people that complain about there not being enough young blood in there, I think it's just because they feel underrepresented, maybe.
Sure.
So how do you fix that?
It's interesting because we had, in my time there, Jacob Martin was on, and now you still have Kristen Jennings and Sean Day. Younger, not young.
Yeah, but younger than average. Yeah.
And they brought a lot of interesting it's like when we have Madison here, brings a different mindset to the table of, well, what does that look like for you? What does that look like for my generation? And that's helpful.
Yeah, increased perspective at least.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We welcome your phone call, 674-4443.
Want me to chime in?
Yes, go ahead. Trevor, what would you do?
BS. Not that hard.
Yeah.
Not that hard?
Do I have water? Do I have lights? Are my streets plowed?
Honestly,
do we have
those are the
beautification
hot
in the
button
city?
issues, yeah.
I think it's taken way too seriously, and we got to think through everything. What's changed in city politics and what you got to do for the citizens of Sheridan in the last 50 years?
Honestly, and I
Nothing.
used to tell people that all the time. Roads, your garbage gets hauled away.
Exactly.
Your
My
toilet
mama,
flushes.
you know what my mama wants? My toilet flushes. I got water. I got hot water. I got lights on. You're plowing my street. You're picking up my garbage. Yes, I'm going to pay my part, my taxes with my sewer and water rates.
Those
and
are
otherwise,
fees, not taxes.
kiss my butt and leave me alone. And make sure my neighbors don't let the weeds grow too high.
So can we expect a Trevor Jackson for city council campaign sign?
No, because there's no way, because it's thought, the people on the council, with all due respect, you think way too much about what you're doing.
Well, you wouldn't be a thinker, so you'd be a doer.
Just go do it.
Yeah.
Look, department heads do their job.
Yeah.
Stu McCrae, do your job. I'm on the city council. Just let me know when I need to be there, and we're going to cross those T's and dot those I's, and it's not that big of a deal. And for all the people out there that are so dumb, I get so tired of hearing this from idiots, because they are. Well, they're lining their pockets.
Oh, yeah.
No one's lining their pockets with your tax money, you idiot.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
That used to be one of my favorites.
It's impossible to line your pockets with tax money.
I'm still waiting.
Unless maybe, so I just think to me, I'm sorry. Maybe if I simplified it too much, the way I think about it, to me, it's not a hard job. It's easy.
Distill it down.
And I'm out.
I think you're the perfect guy for the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've already got my vote. I'm going to write him in.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of my big things. Was I'm always like, because you would hear that, it's like, oh, guys, line your pocket. I'm like,
Right. Yes.
I've never gotten an envelope full of cash at a dead drop site, or even handed to me. I didn't even take anything for a campaign. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I agree. I think that's always interesting. Like, oh, they're routing that ARPA money.
Yeah.
Because there's no constraints on that at all.
There's pretty good accountability when it comes to that stuff. I mean, especially locally.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think when you get up to the federal level, there's a lot of stuff that gets moved around that nobody knows anything about it.
Well, and the lobbyists, you don't have lobbyists showing up to City Hall going, well, we really want to talk to you about, Pfizer. Oh, okay.
It's a very different game locally than on the federal level.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Even on a state level.
Yeah.
I mean, Cheyenne is full of lobbyists.
True. Yeah.
And, you look at the federal level, I mean, they're making $174,000 a year. They're in office for 4 years, and they come out and they're millionaires, multimillionaires.
Yeah, and they have all the book deals and all the speaking engagements and all the other stuff that tons of money comes in for that.
Right. That didn't just happen on their salary.
Yeah, for sure. 674-4443, 672-5763 if you have an opinion on this topic today. And I thought about it, but I'm kind of in the position where we're saying it's not the right time for me.
Right.
I just don't have the time and the energy to devote to that I would need to do the job well.
Right. And it is, I mean, there is whatever Trevor says, but there's a lot of time because you're expected to be at things.
He's speaking with motions now.
It's a good thing I got my back to him, and he's not on camera.
It's a very good thing, yeah.
But the bigger kind of side of this is it's not just this, would you run for local government? It's any kind of almost voluntary thing. We're seeing volunteerism go way down. Volunteer fire departments,
yes,
almost non-existent. I mean, there used to be, Gary Harnish, the chief, had some remarkable number. It used to be like there were 800 and some thousand people in the U.S. that were on the volunteer fire squad. That's like 250,000 or something now.
Yeah.
And even we used to, when we would test for the fire department, you'd have 100 people show up, 80 people show up. Now you get lists of 20.
Wow.
And that's a paid position. But it's just, I don't know if it's a generational thing where they just go, that's not for me. Or
what is it? Do you think it is that, or do you think it's because the younger generation has other priorities as far as working and things like that? Cost of living is different, maybe?
Well, and that's the thing is a lot of my experience in trying to hire folks or whatever is they're more about, it's not even the pay necessarily, it's the time off, the balance.
I've noticed that.
What's big.
It's too bad Madison's not here because we could get her opinion on this. But,
right.
I think it does seem from what I've read that the younger generations right now are more concerned about experiences other than possessions.
Right.
And so experiences, that's time.
Oh,
money.
absolutely. Absolutely. And something like that, and that's the other side of a local government position is you're tied to it. You're here every Monday. So long weekend, vacations, I mean, you can take them, but really you should be here.
I think we may be getting a phone call, but Trevor's talking to another former councilman in the studio there right now.
Oh, man. From the Wayback Machine.
Right. But I do see the light blinking, so if Trevor's going to take care of that real quick. Good morning. You're on the Jackson Electric Open Line.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you? It sounds like Floyd.
It is Floyd.
Calling from the road, I assume.
Yeah. You're on your way, right?
You would be assuming incorrectly.
He's a wiser man than we gave him credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, one thing I wanted to say, we're talking about running for local government and volunteers. There's a lot of different challenges that the younger generation has got to face now that the older ones didn't. And when I say that, if I'm part of this younger generation, I've now got to devote my time to making more money than past generations. I know a lot of people would disagree with me on this, but some of the down payments for the houses in Sheridan, back in the day, you couldn't buy an ice cream with it nowadays. So it's a different world. And we've got to realize that this is going to be like a rock thrown in a lake. We're going to see ripple effects of this all across the board.
Yeah.
And volunteerism and volunteering for these organizations also gave a sense of belonging, a sense of community, something that now I can seek online.
Right.
I don't need to go to an organization. I don't even need to leave my house to belong to an organization. I just go online, and those people have more in common with me than maybe people in my own physical community.
Yeah, that's a good
so
point.
Again, something else that completely has just kind of washed through, not just volunteer organizations, but organizations in general. If we look at situations like the VFW, the American Legion,
Yeah, I was going to say
less and less veterans.
Yeah.
Yes. less and less soldiers, less and less individuals are joining those. And they can't figure out why. It's because I don't have to drive a couple miles into town to sit around with a bunch of people who I identify with. Now I just go online. I talk to my online community. You can do anything online now. So that is going to remove that from the physical world, especially when you identify with those people more than the ones in your own community.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
Now, the poll question, would I run for local government? Absolutely not.
I'm still on the fence. I think probably later in life I would seriously consider it. Right now, it's been in the back of my mind, but I just
Steve, you'll be way too grumpy by then.
Well, I could use that. I could use to be a little grumpier, probably.
But we were talking about that offline about, you see the president go in and he's like young and happy, and 4 years later he's like 70 and hunched over and like his hair is gray
and just mad at the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is the idea that, this is going to age you, this is going to make you ornery, and, well, look at a different perspective. There's a lot of people who go to these meetings who want to do nothing more than complain. That's it. They're not going to go to these meetings. Too many people are not going to take time out of their day to walk up to a city councilman or go to a city council and say, hey, I just want to let you guys know you're doing a bang-up job.
Yeah. How many times have you heard that?
A few, out on the street or whatever. But no, you're correct. It's the crabbing that most people want.
Yeah, I'm not motivated enough to do that.
Well,
no one is.
I don't mind if people show up and have a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Bring a solution. That's the issue. You can't just walk in and be like, well, the roads and this and that, and what are you going to do when I'm out of here?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it? But it is just interesting that you can find all of those communities online. You can do all that, but then what does that make local government? Old crabby people? I don't know. How do you draw that younger crowd into it? And I think that there's always kind of that, fringe group that they're like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But how do you make that more appealing?
Well, and at the same time, we've got to realize that this younger generation is much more involved in politics than we were at their age.
That's true. Yes.
I don't know.
Much
I was
more.
a poli-sci major, so.
You were typical then.
It's not going to happen overnight. But the younger generation is moving into a place where I think they will take on certain situations. And like you said before, Aaron, we've had city council members who were on the younger side who stood up and said, you know what, I am doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, and they have. And they're doing a great job sitting up there doing exactly what they want to do. Being involved, making decisions for the city, listening to the citizenship. I think we'll see more of that going into the future, not less.
I hope so.
Yeah. How's the junior council thing worked out? You get high school age kids and they sit in on those meetings and.
Yeah. I guess it's the poli-sci and student body government shows up for some of the meetings, and then they're expected to kind of write papers on it and things like that. So there's always those. Like I said, that's kind of that fringe group where
those are the ones that are interested in it anyway.
They're involved in it. They're interested in it anyway. And you're always going to have those. But how do you build that into outside that realm? Having people that want to, show up and do the easy work, Trevor.
Not to chime in.
Ding.
Is Floyd still there?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here.
It's not about unicorns and jelly beans, my friends. It's the real world. If you want to make a difference, don't run local level. Get involved in your state politics. Get involved in national politics where you can make a change. Look, I just want my street plowed. I want the electricity on. I want the water. It's pretty simple.
Electricity's MDU, though, so.
Just pay your bill. You'll get your electricity.
Right.
I mean, that's their job. All right, Floyd, we have another call.
All right. I'll let.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Bye, Floyd.
See ya.
See, Trevor's a doer. He gets it done. Let's go to the next call. Good morning. You're on the Jackson Electric Open Line.
Is that me?
Yeah, it is.
Say, that guy was pretty interesting. Concerning polls, a while back, as I recall, there was a poll to the public about does the public want to see expansion in Sheridan, Wyoming?
Yeah.
And as I recall, the poll was in favor of no.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
Okay, so taking those polls into account with the behavior of CETA and the city feeling some obligation as a governmental agency to approach and to broach the supply and demand situation, and we've done nothing but they've accommodated and encouraged and everything out of their way to bring more industry and more people to Sheridan, which touches on the man's fact that housing is stupid pricey here. I got a couple more things here to comment on. Abortion. I'd like to see the people that are so in favor of abortion, and indeed in rape, the people responsible for rape are, number one, not held responsible. Number two, put your energy in prevention rather than abortion. It's like building a house and burning it down, I guess. Okay, as far as refugees, aliens, other people from other countries that come in here for a reason, and probably or likelihood is that they can't survive in the countries they're in. In those countries, possibly they're run by firepower, being weapons, firearms in our country. Probably the only reason why we're still around is because we have the ability to defend ourselves. An old woman, 100 years old, is as tough as a strapping young guy at 6 foot and 250 if they both have a firearm. Okay, then the last thing, I didn't get in edgewise before the year ended. We had a pretty good blitz of storm there, and the frontline guys, the street and snow removal and garbage and all that was taken well care of by the city guys, and I really appreciate it. Kind of past tense, but thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that does it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the call. Yeah, I agree. I think plowing here is second to none in this
it's
area.
amazing.
Yeah. We get the job done, and the plows are out when the snow is coming down, and they're getting it taken care of before it builds up.
The city, honestly, right now runs smoother than it has in a long time. The relationship between the city and the county is the best it's been in quite a while. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty well figured out. It's easy, like Trevor said.
See, he knows what he's talking about.
He's garnering votes by the moment.
Yeah, I think that's part of the climate too. You know, I mean, if the local government has a reputation for being just an absolute, hellhole, mm-hmm. that's going to dissuade people from trying to get into that as well.
Chicago,
right? Yeah, I mean, think about that.
Well, it was interesting. Minneapolis. So I grew up Minnesota. I went to school downtown in the Twin Cities for college, and watching it burn. Mm-hmm. And I'm on city council at that point, and you got city council there going, yeah, what are we gonna do? Let them just do what they need to. I'm like, holy cow! I can't imagine in a bigger city like that being on that city council and dealing with that kind of stuff. I mean, we're talking, sewers and whatever. They're burning cities to the ground,
right?
So
and if you're someone that wants to change things, and you're going to go into that lion's den and try to do that anything,
right?
Yeah, that's
you're going to take a lot of flack for it.
Right.
Trust me, when I got on the fluoride ban, mm-hmm. Wow. There were people from both sides coming out of the woodwork.
The fluoride thing is a pretty good example of how our local government works, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you get results. I mean, the election happened, and the people that were elected to do a certain job got the job done.
Absolutely.
So, there was talk about putting it on a special ballot and things like that, but the expense of doing that.
Yeah. So basically, it was just that survey that was sent out in the water sewer bill monthly, and it was fairly overwhelming that people just didn't want it, so I actually went and flipped the switch myself.
How did that feel doing that?
Really awesome. Because again, that should be a choice. You want it, you can have it. You can get tablets for it, whatever, but it shouldn't be foisted upon everybody. And most people agreed with that they're like, yeah, I don't want it being injected in my water.
Right.
If I want it, I'll go get it.
Yeah.
And I wish more things were actually like that.
I mean, the way government should work is, the people have their voice and it's represented in the councils and stuff. And that seems to be what happened in this case.
Right.
We have another caller. Good morning. You're on the Jackson Electric open line.
It's me again.
Oh, hi. Hi, Floyd.
Who's me?
Yeah. You still at home?
All right,
Are you still at home?
Now, the idea, one thing that I wanted to make comment on is the last gentleman who called talked about how, hey, the poll showed that there's a majority of people who don't want Sheridan to grow. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's walk through that in our mind, shall we?
Well,
I want you to imagine a downtown Sheridan with boarded up windows, a grocery store, local, that can barely get by, and zero workforce in town. Zero. Because a generation of individuals is about to start, well, they're already starting to retire. Now, where's the nurses? Where's the caretakers? Where's the individuals who are going to help them as they become seniors? They're gone because there's nothing to do in Sheridan. They're gone because there's no other work in Sheridan. They're not there because there's no activities in Sheridan. A town grows or it dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Well, and people, I would run into people and they're like, well, I'm not really for progress. I'm like, so are you for regress?
Yeah, because those are the only two
Because
options.
that's all that you have.
Nothing
You're
ever
either-
stays the same.
Right.
Yeah.
You're growing or you're dying, like Floyd said. I mean,
Yep.
you have to grow in order to survive.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, I think the key is it has to be managed, and it has to be well planned.
Right.
Because you can have there are towns that were Sheridan size that have just exploded, and tons of problems come along with that.
Oh, of course.
But if it's managed and well planned, I think that's the only path forward.
Yeah. And
Not just managed and well planned. There also has to be a diversification. I lived in an oil boom town for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
During the boom, I watched all kinds of restaurants come in. I watched buildings go up all over town. Hotels, get out of here. They popped up overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what that town's doing now?
it's on
Boarding
the-
up windows and shutting things down.
Yeah, it's on the Wyoming Ghost Town tour.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what's. And now, when you drive through that town, it looks like a dump.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's boarded up. Restaurants that were there when I was in college are gone. It's just, it's not attractive. You have to diversify your economy, and that's only done through growth. Weatherby,
Yeah. And it has
other
to be, yeah.
companies who've moved in there.
Yeah, it has to be self-sustaining. It can't rely on, like you say, the oil boom.
Right.
Something like that is not going to last forever. We know it won't.
Well, and
I understand where they're coming from. All right? They're getting up there in age. They don't like to see things change, and everything around them is changing. And I'm sorry to say this out loud, but that causes fear. Fear because I don't understand this crazy new generation. I don't understand why they want to call each other by different pronouns. I don't get it, and I don't want it around me. Get it away from me.
well, and things have always
That's
changed.
the way the world's moving.
Yeah.
We're not riding horses to work anymore. We're not, things always change. It's whether you're willing to accept it or not. But going back to the housing price, interestingly enough, 21 years ago when I moved here, I had a guy out in Mercer Island, Washington, and he would call me. He's like, "What's real estate doing there?" I'm like, "It's crazy." Back then, it was kind of crazy, because it was going up because it was during the coal bed methane. It was during, and he's like, "Well, what's the driving force?" I said, "People want to be here, so they figure out a way to be here because we're not dependent on coal, oil, any of that stuff." Sheridan is unique in the fact that people just want to be here,
Right.
and they're going to find a way to do it. And with that, supply and demand, Sorry.
Yeah, and the key is to keep that atmosphere, because depending on how it goes, people may not want to be here
Right.
anymore. So you've got to keep that environment a positive environment, and growth is part of that.
Absolutely. And if
Well,
you don't
and
have that,
now let's look at the trickle down of all of that, okay? So now you don't have a workforce and you don't have a diverse economy. So let's look at what Sheridan did to get by during COVID. It's because their economy was diversified.
right?
It's because they've actually grown to the point where they're not depending on one industry. They're not depending on one thing. So when that one thing is cut or that one thing goes down, someone's still out there plowing your street. Your garbage is still getting picked up, and you still have water being treated at the treatment center because the city can pay the people to do it. It's all linked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you remove one thing out of that, you need to be able to be buoyant in the river or you'll drown.
That's true.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. The Jackson Electric Open Line continues after this. This is News Talk 930 KROE Sheridan.
Renovation is not a remodeling company. They're a renovation company. They'll purchase your property, no matter the condition, and renovate it back to its former glory. They're a compassionate and caring company that is wanting to assist those with properties that the owners don't know what to do with, or simply cannot do the work anymore. Find out more at wyorenovation.com or find them on Facebook.
Are you getting sticker shock with just about everything right now? We're here to help. This is David Cook with ERA Care Realty, inviting you to our gas and grocery giveaway on SheridanMedia.com. Enter daily now through February 2nd, and a winner by random draw will get a $200 gift card to Albertsons and a $200 gift card to the Holiday Station Store. Good luck from all of us at ERA Care Realty. We're about more than real estate. We're about family, friendship, and community.
Enter the gas and grocery grab on the contest page on SheridanMedia.com.
Moss Holders wants to help increase your comfort in 2023. So right now, every mattress is on sale. Come try out a new Beautyrest Black Hybrid or Asserta Perfect Sleeper mattress. With 19 models to choose from, Moss Holders has a mattress to fit your body type and your budget. After selecting your favorite mattress, customize your comfort by choosing new pillows, sheets, or an adjustable base to raise your head and feet. Add more comfort to your life this new year with a new mattress from Moss Holders. Moss Holders, furniture is our passion.
Tomorrow night, join the WYO Theater for a special musical collaboration unlike anything else. American music masters Sam Bush, Mike Marshall, and Edgar Meyer get together with George Meyer on the WYO stage. The amazing blend of bluegrass and mandolin sounds with classical violin will make an evening of acoustic music that's in a class of its own. Don't miss this incredible concert with Bush, Marshall, Meyer, and Meyer. One night only, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at the WYO Theater. Get your tickets today at the WYO Theater box office or online at wyotheater.com.
I'm Dr. Joshua Scott, General Surgeon with the Bighorn Surgical Team at Sheridan Memorial Hospital. After surgery, we all want to get back on our feet, doing what we love as fast as possible. That's why we are so excited to have our state-of-the-art Da Vinci robotic-assisted surgery system. The Da Vinci surgical system is designed to be one of the safest and least invasive options for surgery. Our highly trained team of surgeons is located right here in Sheridan, allowing you to remain close to family and friends during your recovery. If surgery is in your future, talk to your surgeon about robotic-assisted surgery or go to SheridanRoboticSurgery.com to learn more.
Welcome back to the Jackson Electric Open Line on News Talk 930 KROE, 103.9 FM. We're also streaming on YouTube and Facebook and all that fun stuff. You can join the conversation that way or give us a call. 674-4443, 672-5763 are the numbers, and we do have a call waiting. Good morning. You're on the Jackson Electric Open Line.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Hey, a little off subject, but we fly a American flag at our home, or proudly. And then it seems like you drive around and there's half a dozen of them flying at half mast. Nobody ever knows when, where, why, how. Is that something you folks could maybe pay attention to or figure out, or let us dummies know?
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, because I'll drive by Perkins or whomever, and they're at half mast.
There's
and I'm like,
the Forest Service just up the road from us.
Yeah.
It was at half mast the other day.
and half of the time I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I feel bad that I don't know why.
Right, yeah.
One-
Exactly. That's my whole point.
Yeah.
You feel kind of like a dummy. Everybody, or some of them are half mast, and here you are flying full.
Right. yeah.
Right. And I think you can actually jump on State of Wyoming website
Nope,
and
not me.
Aaron, isn't it up to? I've always pointed at the governor. Makes
and
the call.
That's exactly right, because there was that
For your individual state, the governor will make a call.
right. So the state should provide that information, because a couple of weeks ago there was that incident where some guys went into the ice and two of them drowned, and
Yes.
one of them was former military, and they called for the flags to be at half mast until I think his service or something. But I think you can get that from the state.
But I don't think they do a good enough job conveying that
No.
to the rest of the state.
Agreed, and that's what I'm hoping you guys will do, because I don't compute, so...
Yeah. That
Oh,
would be
come on. You need to compute.
You want to hear it on the radio then, whether,
Okay.
if there's a reason for it.
You guys do enough of that, playing on your phones all day.
Yeah, we'll do it for you.
Yeah, because I know that goofy newspaper ain't going to do it, or wouldn't do it, or whatever. But yeah, if you guys could kind of get something figured out and maybe let us know in the mornings or something.
That is a good suggestion. We should try to figure out how to do that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Thank you very
That's
much.
one of those tough calls, guys, because you could have, I guess, obviously, we could have something happen maybe in our town where it might be appropriate.
Right.
I was thinking, and I saw a thing earlier. It was this week. They identified another lost World War II veteran from Glendive, Montana.
Yes.
Right.
Now we had that a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. I think in that situation it would be appropriate in Sheridan. But then if you have a death, say a statewide person, maybe it was a politician or whoever, we do it then. Mm-hmm. We had the young man that was killed in Afghanistan from Jackson, and I think that it was half mast then. But I always, the governor usually comes out and orders that to be done.
Yeah. I think, as the caller suggested, we could probably come up with a way of including that in morning newscasts, and just say, hey, by the way, flags at half mast today because of whatever.
And I think it's one of those things we never really thought about it.
Yeah, I like the caller brought it up to my attention, but I remember driving by. I would think it was the Forest Service earlier this week or last week, and seeing it there and wondering why it was.
Maybe there's a reason. Yeah. Obviously, there's a reason.
I'm sure there's a reason. It's not just the person forgot to go all the way up.
I kind of got tired putting it up. My arms are sore.
It's time for my federally mandated break, and I was halfway through raising the flag. Yeah.
So maybe that might be a question. It'd be kind of a cool question, maybe to really ask the governor's office,
right?
To say how could is there a way? And I know there's an easy way to do it. To get that out there,
but just assuming that it's at full mast, unless there's a report that
unless
says
you hear otherwise. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So
and it's one of those things like you, Aaron, I think you hit the nail on the head. You're driving up down the street. We have lots of people have flags, whether they're businesses or maybe in your neighborhood, or maybe you have one at your home.
Right.
And you see a couple at a half mast and you're like, okay, what did I miss?
Right. Or should I be at half mast?
Or should I go home and put mine that way?
Right.
Exactly.
Tommy just handed some information to me. This is probably why I saw it. The 22nd through the 26th, the president, Joe Biden, had ordered half staff for the Monterey Park, California tragedy there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So that would make sense for that one. That's probably what I saw.
Thank you, Tommy B.
Mm-hmm. He's the guy with the info.
I mean, as much bad stuff that happens in the news cycle, you keep the flag at half staff every day.
Honestly,
that's the thing.
I'm not being flippant about it either.
Right, but there needs to be a judgment call there, because there is a line where mass shootings happen fairly frequently in the U.S., and if you had the flag at half staff every time one of those happened, you'd never bring it up.
Look, every death is serious. Mm-hmm. I mean, if someone passes away, you might not know that person, like we do obituaries in the morning. Mm-hmm. You know what? It's not a segment. That was somebody's dad or mom or brother or relative. And that family's going through that. So that's a big thing to them.
Yeah, I
You know,
think
that
typically,
kind of thing.
typically the line is, like you said, like somebody in the military. You know, it has to be a certain prominence
Yes.
person, probably. That would be that's a call I'm glad I don't have to make.
Well, and it's difficult because there's federal, there's state, there's local. Like, yeah, where are you pulling that?
Because I'm
information
thinking
from?
it's going to be president, governor, and then after that, mayor, city council.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. For a local
You're-
tragedy, the mayor could
yeah,
probably.
for maybe a local thing. Yeah.
674-4443, 672-5763. We have about 5 minutes left. We've been talking primarily about running for local government.
Yay! So, do you think there's a shot next time I run?
I think you've got to.
I think you have to
I
now.
think
No,
you've already
I
made your
don't.
campaign statement practically.
I don't. I've been, to be honest with you, I've had people over the years say, you should do that, and I'm like, no, I just don't
Hey,
have.
you got 2 years to build
Do
your
not
war
have
chest.
and to be honest with you, I just don't have the intestinal fortitude because
I think that's it. I think
I just love common sense. I want to be left alone. I want to live my life, and I want everybody to do the same thing and stay out of my business. I don't want to get into your business.
it would be interesting to see of the 70% that said no, how many of them said no just because they don't want to deal with all the negative attention that they would get.
Well, look at social media, how that's gotten. When before social media, you didn't have. I mean, it's brutal. Where you could have a city council meeting, and the next day on social media, you got all these clowns out there just throwing bombs.
Oh, not even the next day. It's as it's happening.
At mayors and just throwing bombs at people and making accusations that are just outlandish.
Well, I will tell you, I had not been on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any of that.
Good move.
For the last 4 years.
So I was going to say, Aaron, in so other words, your advice to a candidate would be get rid of all your social media.
Oh, absolutely. Because
Shut it
I
off.
know former council people that it tore them up to the point that they went, I'm not doing this again.
Well, it just gets, the thing about it is, it's one thing if people are going to, I could call you, Aaron, and say, hey, look, maybe criticize you a little bit. And you're going to be fine with that.
Yeah.
But when you just get groups of people just blasting you for, no reason at all, otherwise they can just do it because they found their voice on Facebook.
Right. Well, and that's the crazy part is they'll do that.
Yeah.
But they will not walk up to you
Oh,
on
yeah.
the street and
No.
say the same thing.
Well, they can hide behind that veneer of the Facebook anonymity that you can have, even though you're supposed to have an actual identity. It's easy to hide behind false identities. We have another caller. Good morning. You're on the Jackson Electric open line.
Yeah, just wondering if you have a suggestion box for topics for Open Line Friday, and where would I find it?
You could make a suggestion right now. We also do have a comment section on the website. I'm not exactly sure where that is, but there is a comment section on there. But just make your suggestion right now. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking like a little bit away from the government so much. A friend of mine was up elk hunting and perished because he had a series of problems occur. And I thought maybe if something like that, where it would be a local kind of thing, where more people would call in, maybe. You guys don't get very many calls.
Could you do you want to send an email to the news department with more details on that?
Maybe can, yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to maybe explore that a little bit more. Yeah, send an email to news@sheridanmedia.com, and we'll take a look at it. Thanks for the calls today, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back again Monday. This is the Jackson Electric Open Line on News Talk 930 KROE Sheridan.